Hi, everybody. Welcome. This is the Cricut 101 class. My name is Joy McDonnell. I am with Cricut. Kesley Anderson is going to be your teacher today. She had a little tiny technical difficulty, so she's re-signing in on her computer. But in the meantime, while we are waiting for her to arrive, let's do a little bit of information in the chat so that we can see where everybody's from and which type of machine that you're going to be using today. And we like to ask if you feel comfortable, go ahead and turn on your camera, because as we help folks along, we try to see because we don't have voice back and forth, so we'll check to see if you're nodding, yes, you got it, or not. But you don't have to turn on your camera. Welcome to Chicago. Miami, love the little Cricut Joy. We love her. Somebody doesn't have a Cricut yet. This is a great class to be in. We'll teach you lots of things about the Cricut, and then we'll help you figure the right one for you. And then some folks just got their Cricut. I know that machines at Michael's are on sale this week. If you haven't gotten your machine yet, this is a great machine to make a choice. The Air 2 is $199, and Cricut Joy is at its a really great price at $139, and the Maker is $299. So those are really good prices at Michael's. And also there's a buy one, get one free on materials, mats, and tools. So if you need to stock up, this is a great time to do it. All right, and boy, you guys are from all over. I am seeing Long Island and oh gosh, this just all moves so fast. Virginia, Texas, South Carolina, lots of different machines, Air 2s and Makers. And Kesley is joining back in right now. We're gonna give you a minute, Kez.
Okay, yes, thank you.
She's getting everything situated. So still more from Ohio. Looks like we have a lot of people with Air 2s, which is good, that we're going to be showing cutting on an Air 2 today. But everything that we're making in class, you can use your Explore Air 2, your Maker, or your Cricut Joy. They will all work. It just depends which one you choose in Design Space. So, so this is exciting. Everybody from all over I think I even have somebody from Canada, Alberta.
Wow.
I know, that's amazing. We have Ohio, Texas, Palm Springs. I'm going backwards in the chat just a smidge. And now that we have most everybody in class, we'll just go over it one more time. My name is Joy McDonnell, and I am with Cricut. Kesley Anderson is going to be your teacher today. She is going to show you how to use Design Space. And this class will be recorded, and you will be able to rewatch it on michaels.com. So when the class ends, if you're really, really new to Cricut and you haven't started to use your machine yet, I would say this is a great class to watch. And then when you get ready to make along with the class, then you can go to where it's recorded and work alongside Kesley, because she's going to show you all kinds of great tips and tricks in Design Space that you can use. All right. So it looks like
Wait, I'm still
yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, I'm still trying to get my other computer, which has everything on it, up and going. But while I'm still doing that, can you just talk to everybody about a couple Zoom features that they may not be familiar with, like the gallery view versus presenter view, because those are always like things that are helpful as we're working.
Yes, and this is something that does come up a lot. Up in the top right corner of your Design Space, you'll see how you can watch the class. It should say view, and if you use the speaker view instead of the gallery view, then you can see up close. I think it should be right next to me then, the visuals that you'll need to see. And then also down on your left side, make sure that your microphone is turned so that you can hear everything the way that you want to hear. And those are easy things to do with Zoom so that you don't miss anything. Oh, we have somebody from Puerto Rico too. That's so exciting. And Kissimmee, Florida,
Oh, wow.
upstate New York, Alabama, Delaware. We've got people from all over, Kesley.
That is amazing. I am excited.
Lots of amazing learners. And so Kesley today is going to show us, you can see on the screen that we do have, you'll see she's going to show you how you can cut out vinyl to go onto a tumbler. The tumblers are from Michaels. They do have a great selection of blanks that you can use along with the materials. So lots of things from Michaels. All right, Kesley's almost there.
I'm getting it. So, you know, I can go ahead and start talking about everything if you want. And then once my computer, I can switch over, but we can at least get started.
That's good, Kez. And so on the back side, I will be here answering questions along with Lindsay Bello from Cricut. She will be helping us answer questions as well. What we would like for you to do is listen as much as possible to Kesley's presentation, because I think she's going to answer most questions during the presentation. Thank you all, and so sorry for the little mess up that little technical difficulties.
Yes, I appreciate everybody's patience and kindness. At least you're not throwing things at your screen at me, so I'm assuming everyone's being patient. So first, let's get started with the different types of machines that are available at Michaels. There's 3 different Cricut machines that are available. You have the Cricut Joy, the Cricut Explore Air 2, and the Cricut Maker. So the Cricut Joy is the newest model to hit the market, and it's the cutest, I think. It's a nice small size with a 7.5 inch, a 7.5 inch. Oh, let's see if I can. You know what? I may switch over. I may lose you here.
That's okay.
To go over. Is that okay? Okay. It's a 7.5 inch wide machine versus the Cricut Maker and the Explore Air 2, which is a 12 inch wide machine. So you have a little bit smaller footprint, but it's more compact. So it fits in like a little cubby hole. You don't need a lot of space to store it. The Cricut Joy also is, it's not cordless. You do still need the cord for the outlet, but you don't need a cord to connect it with your design space. Okay, am I here? I'm in both.
You're still there.
Okay, Felicia, thank you so much. I'm gonna turn off this other one.
Yes. Kesley's got the little technical difficulties going on, but you guys are so patient, and thank you so much. She was going to be talking about the 2 different machines the 3 different machines. She just told you about the Cricut Joy, but there's an Air 2 machine, which is actually in the photograph that she has. You'll see a machine in the view, and that's the Air 2 machine. That machine can cut over 50 different types of materials. And it has a 13.5 inch opening so that it can load the mats. And then you have your Maker machine, which is your versatile machine. That one has blades that can change out. You can change from a knife blade to a rotary blade. You have 2 different scoring blades that you can use, all kinds of things. So you have lots of options with the different machines that we have.
Hey, Felicia, Kesley says that her other screen needs to be unmuted. Can you help her?
Yep, I'm unmuted.
Oh.
Okay, thank you so much. And I'm recovering my other screen, so we will be back with everything as normal in just a few minutes. And guys, I really do appreciate your patience. We may have to, if you can hang around a little bit longer, we'll make up the time, Joy, I think, if we can.
Absolutely.
So we get everybody their questions. I know I don't want to eat into your question and a Q&A time. Okay, so I think we did everything on the Cricut Joy. I don't know if I heard you mention that the Cricut Joy has It's compatible with both a cutting tool as well as a pen tool. So you can draw and cut with the Cricut Joy. And that's kind of a neat feature, especially with all of the different cards that you can make on the Cricut Joy, to be able to add in your pen onto that. The main idea of the Cricut Joy, I think of it as, it's really designed to be like an on-the-go, quick project type of device. So it works with an app on your phone. That allows you to do like really quick projects. And then it also works with your design space for things that are more intricate and more detailed on a mobile device or an iPad. And when I talk about mobile devices, I mean to include both iOS devices like Apple devices and Android devices like Google devices. So it works. That's what, when I say that type of machine, that's what I mean by that. Okay, so those are like some quick points on the Cricut Joy. And I think I've almost got my PowerPoint. Oh, I do. Okay, I'm going to share my screen now and we'll be able to do this class like normal. Okay, here we go. So I'm sharing my screen. I'm going to go ahead and start my slideshow. We'll start it from the beginning. Okay, here we go. And this is the wrong one. All right. Stop.
That's what's happening. Monday is happening.
in live, right? We're all going to see how we adjust to this.
How did everybody else do on their Monday morning? But you guys are here. You guys are all, I'm so impressed. Everybody's here. What is just in the chat real quick, what is the thing that you want to learn the most in class today? This might help us to cutting, how to start, how to use the machine, how to download an SVG, how to cut vinyl, just the basics, layering a design. Oh, you guys have all kinds of things. Just getting started, weeding, navigating design space, deselect. I read that quickly. Mostly a lot of things about design space, which is perfect because we are going to do a good overview of design space for you today.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm ready, Joy. I think, can everybody see it on the screen? All right, Lindsay's giving me a thumbs up. Woo! Okay, so here's our little Cricut Joy, and this is what the Cricut Joy app looks like. So the Cricut Joy app is a unique app designed just for the Cricut Joy. It works on both Android devices and iOS devices, and it's the companion app for makers who want to do things quick on the fly. Like you just need to label your spice jars, or you're in a classroom and you need to label things. You can just pull out your Cricut Joy and your phone and you can be crafting and have a completed project in 15 minutes. So the Cricut Joy is really a great entry point into having a cutting device. And I love it for card makers. I hear people who are card makers tell me that they just love it because it makes their card making even just that much more enjoyable. If you want to do more complex projects, then you just use Design Space. But for simple things, you can use the Cricut Joy app, which is designed just for the Cricut Joy. The Cricut Joy writes and draws for you, so you can set a design in the app and send it and add a pen in the holder, and it will do all the writing for you. So if you don't like your handwriting on an envelope or you're doing a bunch of invitations, you can actually set it up to do the writing for you. It also cuts over 50 or more popular crafting materials. You can use iron-on, you can do paper, you can do things that you have at home like construction paper. So if you have kids at home that need to do presentations, you want to get them using the Cricut Joy. Really unique about the Cricut Joy is that it uses a material called a smart material. And what the smart material does, and this is where it really differs from our other machines, is that it uses material like your vinyl that you don't need to put onto a mat. So that's why it's called smart. You don't need a mat to cut with it. And the other unique thing about it is it gives you, as you can cut as long as your material is. So if you have a piece of smart vinyl that's 3 feet long, you can cut the full 3 feet of the vinyl without having to do any type of adjustments. It just goes right in and there's no cutting mat needed. You also have the unique Cricut Joy card making mat, which is uniquely designed with a divider in the middle of it to protect the back of the folded insert cards while cutting a design. So if you're a writer and you love to send little notes, the mat and the pre-folded cards are perfect just to cut out a quick design and you have a cute, unique card to send. The next machine in our lineup is the Explore Air. And this is I always think of this as like the first type of machine that did electronic cutting. It's grown and evolved over time. So it's on the Explore Air 2 version. And Joy was mentioning earlier that it's on a really good sale at Michael's. It's $199 for their Tech Week. One unique thing about the Air is that it has this dial. It's called a smart dial, and it allows you to select material without having to make a selection in Design Space. So if you do the same types of materials over and over again, it's so easy just to turn your dial and set it on that material, and then you can do all of your cutting. And when you set it on a material setting, what that means is it determines the pressure that the machine will put on the material to cut it. So if you're cutting something and you want to cut it all the way through, you put more pressure on it. If you're cutting something and you just want to do a kiss cut like vinyl, it's called a kiss cut, where it just cuts the top layer of the vinyl but doesn't cut down to the carrier sheet. And so it'll tell you, it'll put the pressure on that. And then within each category, you can increase or decrease the pressure. So your vinyl has like 3 different selections of pressure. So if you want light pressure, medium pressure, or heavy pressure. So I love that feature on here, and it actually speeds up my cutting. It also, the Explore Air 2 has a smart system where you have 2 holders. Both the Air and the Maker have the 2 holder feature. So what that does is it allows you to put a pen or the stylus in the A position and your cutting blade in the B position. So you can cut or draw or write all in the same application. You won't have to unload your mat and change your blade. You can just do it all in one application. The Explore Air 2 doubles the number of materials that you can cut from 50 in the Cricut Joy to over 100 materials in the Explore Air 2. It uses a fine point blade, which gives you a lot of choices in your materials that you can cut. You can cut some material, like fabric material, in the Explore Air 2. You just need to have a stabilizer on it. When you get to the next machine, the Maker, I'll talk about that in a second, you won't have to put a stabilizer with it. The Explore Air 2 works with your iOS devices, your Android devices, Windows and Mac. It also works with Bluetooth. So if you're not close to your computer, if it's across the room, it can communicate with your desktop or your laptop using Bluetooth, and even your iPad, it can communicate with Bluetooth. But you can also plug it in and have it wired up. So it's whatever works for you, but I love the feature of the Bluetooth if it's across the room from where I'm working. The Explore Air 2 also uses the Cricut pens and markers, and there is such a variety of colors, of line weights in the pens. You can do a fine point pen or an extra fine point. You can do glitter pens. You can use the infusible ink pens in the machine, which is I love that feature. That's the infusible ink is a little bit more advanced than if you're a beginner, but you will get there and you'll be starting to infuse on shirts and mugs and all kinds of fun stuff. But for your basic things, you can use the pen to draw out designs and then cut them out, or just, like I was talking about with the Cricut Joy, you can address envelopes with it, anything like that. And then when we get to the Maker, what differentiates the Maker from the Cricut Explore Air is the Maker puts more pressure on the, has the ability to put more pressure on the material, so you can cut heavier projects, heavier materials with it. It also uses the quick swap tools. And with the quick swap tools, you can, it has the, in this picture here, you can see this gold, it's not a widget, it's a dial. And that stays the same, but you can pull off the bottom where the blade is and change out your blades. Okay. The Maker also does have the dual holders. So you can do a stylus like in this picture, or you can have a pen and a cutting tool at the same time. So the cutting tools, I'm going to show you, only work with the Maker with this gold dial on the top. And those are an engraving tool. So you can actually engrave on different types of metals and plastics with the engraving tool. You have a knife blade tool, which allows you to cut into balsa wood and other heavier materials. And you have a rotary blade. So the rotary blade allows you to cut your fabric. This is the blade, if you want to cut fabric, this is the blade you want to be working with, the rotary blade. And there's other blades too that are available. There's an embossing blade and a few other blades. And then your standard knife, fine tip blade is also available. So the Cricut Maker, if you do a lot of different crafts, if you want to make dollhouse furniture, or if you want to sew with it, cut out patterns, then you'd want to select the Cricut Maker. If you're just an on the fly, I just need a quick project, I'm crafty, I want to add it to my craft lineup, I just want another tool in my toolbox, then you might select the Cricut Joy. And if you're doing, standard materials like vinyl, heat transfer vinyl, cardstock, making cards, but you want to do wider, the 12-inch size, then you might choose the Cricut Explore Air too. So that's an overview of the 3 different machines that are available. And there is one for every crafter's needs, and they all work with Design Space. So let's dive into Design Space. If you want to learn more about the machines before after the class, you can check out learn.cricut.com for more material about the different machines. Now, each of the machines, like I mentioned before, works with an Android device or an iOS device or Mac or Windows. So you can work with your iPad and your desktop at the same time on using your Cricut ID. So what you need to get started is you need to take your machine out of the box and plug it in and register it. And then you need to set up your Cricut ID. So you only need one ID to work across all the multiple platforms that are out there. Whether you're working on your phone or your iPad or your desktop or a laptop, you only need one Cricut ID. And this is great because it works with a cloud. So you can be in one room designing and your machine could be in another room hooked up to your desktop. And so you do your design, you save your project, and then the next day you're ready to cut it and you go to your desktop and your project is in your Cricut Design Space in a totally different room on a totally different day. So just think of it like it works, it's a cloud memory system. So whatever you do on one device, you save it up to the cloud, and the next device you can pull it down. You also, to get started, you want to activate your 30-day free trial with Cricut Access. And Cricut Access has amazing designs already set for you. You have over 1,000 projects to do. There are over 100,000 images and more than 500 fonts that are already preloaded into Cricut Access. So as you're getting started with Design Space, you may be a Procreate designer and think to yourself, I want to make my own stickers. I want to design them on Procreate and bring them in, upload them to Cricut Design Space and print them out, and then go and have a sticker making business, let's say. You can do that. I would suggest, as you're getting started, to use that 30-day free trial of Cricut Access and really play around with all the different images and fonts that are available to you for free for your first trial. And then if you want to continue, it's a monthly or a yearly subscription fee, but you have access to all those images, and it's really great. Okay, so as we're getting started into Design Space, I will be showing you on a desktop version. You may be on an iPad or a phone or your laptop. Laptop and desktop will look the same. iPad will look a little bit differently. So as I talk about things, if you're on an iPad, the edit bars and your layers bar are on the bottom of your screen where this red line is. So if you're working on a desktop, you'll be able to follow along exactly with what I'm doing. If you're on an iPad, look down towards the bottom, or if you're on any pad, I think Android and iPhone and iPad are the same on their Design Space location. This is what Design Space will look like if you're on a phone. So all your tools that I'm going to be talking about are down on the bottom. Okay. I just want to clarify that, because sometimes you're like, I know it's there and I can't find it. And it's just it'll just be on the bottom of your screen versus what I'm showing you on the top of my screen. Okay. So when you dive into Design Space, you come to the home landing page. And this will be the same across all devices and all systems. You have a gray header bar at the top. This is this is my home base. So I can always come back to the gray header bar and find where I need to go. And the first thing are the 3 pancake lines, and this takes you to your profile. In your profile, you can get to the home screen, you can get to the canvas, you can get to the other settings on your machine, like if you need to set up a new machine, if you need to calibrate your machine, if you want to just jump over to Access, it's all right here in the 3 pancake bar, the hamburger bar. So you have home, new machine setup, settings are all there. And then across the top, you also have, let me just back up here. You have, it'll tell you what screen you're on, whether you're on the home screen or the canvas screen. It will let you know if you're logged in, because it'll show your name up here. This is where you access your projects that you've saved. This is the drop-down menu to select the machine you'll be working with. And when you're ready to start a new project is right here. So today I'm using a desktop with an Explorer Air 2. So I have it selected for an Explorer machine and not my Maker or my Joy. The next bar down is a scrolling bar that just shows you new products that are coming in or new ideas on how to use existing products. This is sort of like ooh, look at what's cool and new. Below that will be your projects. And this is where all of your saved projects will be housed. So if you've saved a project, they will be in this bar here, and you can scroll across and find all your saved projects. The next bar down has video playlists, and I highly recommend you explore the library of video playlists, especially as a beginner when you're going back and relearning things or just trying to go, I know it should do this. Why can't I figure this out? Boom, here's a playlist that'll show you all the basic techniques and more advanced techniques. And then you have community inspiration. So these are projects that are inspired from people just like you in the community. Cricut will highlight different projects at different times. things that maybe go with graduation might be popular coming up in May. You'll start seeing more graduation things. You might see some projects within the community for Earth Day coming up. Anything that's current or new technique like the offset, how to use offset might be in this section. So these are other crafters who've shared their ideas. And then as you continue to scroll down, you'll see the Cricut projects and ideas of new products that are out, new techniques, or seasonal. So the Cricut mug press was launched, I think, this month. And so they have all these different ideas on how to use a Cricut mug press. And it'll just scroll, you can just keep scrolling down and seeing different projects and inspiration. And a project is basically a pre-assembled list of images that are sized right or that are combined on your canvas already. So if you wanted to make this wild and free pennant flag, for example, when you go in to make the project, it's all the design part of it is already done, and you just have to cut it out and then glue it together and you're ready to go. So projects is a great place to start too as you're learning through Cricut. Now, when you're ready to get started and you want to start a new project, you go back up to your home plate, your gray header screen, and you select new project. And then it will take you into the design space canvas. And this is where you'll see the differences. So again, just to remind you, on an iPad or a phone, your action items will be on the bottom. I'm showing you on a desktop. So desktop and laptop would look the same. iPad or pad and phone will look with your things on the bottom. So just keep your eye out for that. Okay, when you go into design space, you have your header bar, your home plate, and it looks the same. The only thing that's changed is I have canvas because I'm on my canvas. My projects are here. When I'm ready to save a project, I have the save button, and I have my device selected on what type of device I'm using. As you start adding images or shapes or text, different things will appear. So when I add a square to my canvas from the shapes, I get my edit bar. Now, again, on a mobile device, it'll be along the bottom and you'll look for edit. And then your edit items pop up. So by pop up, I mean they show up when you've highlighted a shape or a layer. And on the edit bar, you can change the size, you can change the operation, you can undo something you've done if you've made a mistake, you can do the offset, and you can change the positioning, all on the edit bar. Then as you go across the canvas and to the right side is the layers panel. Now again, this will be on the bottom if you're on a different device. My layers panel, this is where all the action happens. So as you add shapes and text onto your canvas, you'll notice that you get additional layers show up over here. So my circle is the last layer that I put on over my square. So all my layers will show up here. And then at the bottom of the layers panel are the actions. So the different actions you have are slice, weld, attach, flatten, and contour. And we have a 201 class next Monday that we really dive in deep on how to use these different action items to make your own designs. But I'll just go over them briefly. Slice, think of it like takes apart images. So if you have a whole pie and you just pull out a slice of that pie, then you've removed a portion of the original circle. So that's slice. Weld brings things together and turns two shapes into one. Attach, think of it like a paper clip on your canvas. So it paper clips your images exactly where they are on your canvas. So when you go to the Make It screen, they'll show up exactly where you want them to show up on your cutting mat. Flatten takes multiple layers of images and flattens them down into one. And you'll use flatten when you do print and cut. And contour removes cut lines from a shape. And then along the bottom, and I don't think this is on a mobile device because you just use your fingers, but on your desktop or your laptop, you can enlarge, so zoom in or zoom out on your project. And then on the left side are your insert items. So you have your projects. This is where you can get to all the different projects, go back to the home screen and look at projects. This icon here, the images, this takes you to the Cricut Access library of images. And this is the only place on Design Space that you can access all those images. So that's right here. Text allows you to insert text on your canvas, and shapes basically pulls up your simple shapes like squares, circles, hearts, dotted lines. Well, you'll find under the shapes icon. And upload is that you would click the upload icon if you wanted to upload your own design file, SVG, JPEG, PNG file. You can upload that, and that's how you do that. So in Design Space Images, when you click on the images icon, and Joy, before I go on, are there any questions you need me to touch back on while I've got my screens easy to see?
I think we are getting the majority of the questions answered. So I think you're doing great.
Okay, great. Yep. All right, perfect. So what Joy does is sometimes if there's like a lot of people are asking the same question, she'll pop in and let me know, hey, we're seeing a lot of questions on this, and we try and go back and answer it. So as you're doing your first design, you want to use Design Space Images. This is the Cricut Access. And when you click on the images icon, it takes you into the library of Cricut images. So on the Cricut Access kind of homepage, if you will, the first thing you'll see are the highlighted categories. So like featured images or recently added images. And then you can break down your search for an image by themes. So if you know you need something for a science fair project, you could go into nature. Or if you're working on a birthday party, you would go into occasions and sort of narrow down your search that way. Or you can do search for images and type in keywords for your search and narrow down the image you're looking for. And so like if we typed in love you heart in our search images, all the images that are related to the words love you heart would show up. And that for me gives me 17,411 results. Now, if you're following along and you think, well, I only get 5,000 results, I've been a longtime Cricut user, so I have old images and images that I've uploaded. So my number might be different than your number. So if you're seeing that and you're like, wait a minute, I don't have as many as she has, that's why. It's just, I have older images that I just have, or images I've put up. So out of 17,411 images, how am I going to find the right image? Well, I go over to the left side here and I filter down the images so I can find the ones I'm looking for. When you click on the plus icon in Design Space, in your Cricut Access library, I pop down and I see all these different options to reduce the number of images I see. So if I pick image complexity, like let's say, for example, our project today were to be putting a heart with love you on it on a mug. So you just want a single image. You don't need to have multiple layers. You just want a single image. So you would select single image. And we know we're just going to be cutting it. We won't be drawing. We're not printing. So we're just cutting it. So you would select cut only. And then how many layers do you want? So I really only want one layer. You could do multiple layers and that would give you multiple colors, but I'm looking for a single layer image. And I plan on using vinyl. From those selections, you can reduce the number of images you see. The Cricut Access, the A here on your images, tells you that this image is part of the Cricut Access library. If you are using Cricut Access, if you either have using your free 30-day trial or you have a paid membership, the images that are granted to you to use for free will say, I think we'll say granted. This image here happened to be free this week. So it told me it was free to use. And if there was a cost associated with using that image, there would be a cost associated with it. Once you've narrowed down your images, you can click on the image and the little icon that I've highlighted here will pop up, which will give you more information about the image. So it will give you the name of the image. It will tell you the image number. So if you ever want to reference it back, it has a number and the option to view image sets. When you select view image sets, it takes you into images that have been associated or identified as part of a group of one image. So the Love You heart is part of a group called Stay Golden. So I always think it must have been somebody's anniversary set. And they must have gone on an anniversary in Hawaii because of the pineapples and the hibiscus. I think that's a hibiscus. But so it'll give you images that are associated with that image that you can use on other projects. Once you've selected the image you would like to see on your canvas, you highlight it, you click on it with like your right icon, your right finger on your mouse, you click on that and that pulls up this green box. The green box tells you that image is queued to go on your canvas. So you can see my big red arrow here and the image is here and it's queued up to go on my image, on my canvas. You can select as many images as you'd like to go on your canvas at one time. So if you're working on a big project and you want to work on 5 images at once, you can select 5 images and put them on your canvas. There's no limit, or at least I've never found a limit. So if you hit a limit, let me know. Then you click on Insert Image. And the image, it takes you back to your canvas where your image now appears. When you've clicked on the image, this like grayish bounding box appears around your image and your quick edit tools appear at the corners of your image along with your edit bar. So what we've done, I'm just going to go back. I'm going to back up just a few steps and just kind of go through it step by step, break it down a little bit. I've done a search. I've narrowed down the images I'm looking for. I found one that I like and it's the Love You. I've selected that image with the green banding box and I'm inserting that image onto my canvas. Then the image shows up on my canvas. It's in my layers panel here. I have it highlighted because the bounding box is on it and my edit bar is now live. And I say live because you can see it. When things are grayed out like this, you can't use those features for whatever, like for a range, you'd need to have multiple images selected for a range to be live. But on this one layer, you can do all these different things up here. So your quick edit features on your box, your bounding box, the first one on the upper left corner is the X, and that's delete it. So if I clicked the X, it would remove this image from my canvas. I can rotate the image with this icon, with the backwards C icon. I can rotate my image. With the double arrow, I can enlarge the shape of my arrow proportionately. Most images come onto your canvas with this little icon locked on the bottom left corner. This locks the proportion of your image. So if you were to enlarge your image, if you were to left click on the double arrow and pull it out or in, it would proportionately enlarge or reduce your image. And so by proportionately, I mean the width and the height proportions would stay the same. If you wanted to make this heart longer and elongate it, you would want to click off the lock icon and it would unlock that. And then you can drag your arrow down, up, right, left, and it will change the image based on how you're dragging it, not proportionately. So this is like a square, almost a square. If I wanted to elongate it and make it more of a rectangle heart, I would unlock the proportion and then I would drag my double arrow down and up, and that could change the size. So those are your quick edit features that you have. All right, before we jump over into the live design space, anything I need to go back over?
Sorry, I had to get over to the mute button. It looks like there are lots of questions about the subscriptions and
Okay.
access images and not accessed images. And if you could do really quickly, so everybody's asking, what does it mean granted? Because yours shows that you're granted. That's because Kesley has the subscription, so hers are granted for the images. I think that was the main question.
Okay. And even, Joy, just to clarify, even if you have your Cricut access, and there are still images that are additional, that could be additional, like the Disney images. Is that right? Those are individually priced?
I'm sorry, I'm reading questions and listening at the same time.
Okay, no worries, no worries.
Subscribe means that you can use the images. If you are subscribed, you'll see where you have access to the images. If you're not subscribed, then you can purchase the images each at a time, or you can subscribe for all of them. Just depends on how you want to work with, how much cutting you see yourself doing.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and I stopped sharing my screen. And so we can do, I can share my Cricut. So now everybody buckle in and get ready to craft along with us. So I will be using the Artminds mug tumbler that I picked up at Michael's. And to get started, what you want to do, whatever your item is that you're working on, we call these blanks. So a blank is basically whatever your blank substance is that you're going to be putting a design on. So it could be a journal, it could be a wine glass, it could be a piece of wood, whatever it is, grab your blank and let's measure it so we know how big we want it to be. So when I'm designing a tumbler, I sort of measure it from thumb to forefinger so that if I'm holding it, the design will show and I'm not covering it up. This is like, if you're making it for yourself, that's super easy to do. If you're making it for somebody else, not always, somebody may have smaller hands or larger hands, but that's sort of my general rule of thumb. So if I measure across on my mug, it's about 4 inches across. And then my height that I'd want to do would be about 6 inches. So the largest I want my shape to be would be a 4x6 shape. So if you want to go ahead and measure yours up and open up Design Space, we will get started creating. And I'm going to go ahead and share my screen again, but this time it will be Design Space. Now it's funny because Design Space will update. Oh, do I need to? Hold on, let me put this in there. Design Space will update. So you'll go to bed and you'll be working on Design Space, and then the next morning you wake up and you'll come back and it'll give you an update. So don't be surprised when that happens. I don't know how often they update, but sometimes there's a bug in the software that they find and they just want to fix that, which is nice that they're so quick to fix bugs. Okay, so I'm at my home screen. I'm logged in. I have selected my Explore Air as the machine I'll be using, and I'm ready for a new project. So you go ahead and click New Project, and your canvas will show up here. Okay. Then you can go to, you can either draw in, let's draw our rectangle or square, whatever size your image is going to end up being. So here's my square. It came in with the lock proportions, and I'm going to unlock it because I know I wanted it to be 4 inches by 6 inches. Now I could drag this arrow and enlarge or reduce my size, or to make it easy, I could go up to my edit bar here and do 4 inches wide by 6 inches tall. And that's the size of my shape. And so I personally do that because I find it easier to design with my proportions that way. If that doesn't work for you, don't feel like you need to do that. So let's go to the images, your image library. And you can, if you go to where it says all images, all the images will show up. The screen I'm on right now, these are like the new images that have come home. I just saw that sleigh at home, Mom. These are the new images or popular images for this week will start showing up first. If I go to all images, I go to the browsing images category. So I could click on the featured images, see what's featured this week. I could go to recently added and see what are the newest images. Lots of aloha. Someone's going on a vacation here. So they've added a lot of aloha images. Pretty cute. Or I can go back into and do a search for images. So today, let's look for an image that has to do with bloom. Spring is here. It's starting to get nice and warm in Virginia. So I'd like to do something in the bloom category with flowers coming out. And I can reduce the number of images I have to select from by changing my filters. So we're going to just cut today. So cut only. I would like it to be a real simple image because I'm putting it on a tumbler and I don't want to get too fancy. And I'm going to use vinyl. So that really reduced me down to just 4 results. So let's try grow and see if I get more choices than that. So you just come back here, say grow. Okay.
Kenzie, you have that simple image clicked.
Oh, I do. That's what it is.
Yeah, if you make it more of a moderate, you can find a little bit more.
Yes, you're right. So let's try bloomin'. All right. So now I'm back to, okay, now I'm back to 253. All right, so let's just do cut only. And I'm going to use vinyl because some of these designs might be out of paper or for cards. So I know I'll be using a vinyl. And now I've reduced it down to 104 images. And then you can scroll through and find an image that really speaks to you or that you like and that you'd like to use. So I like these, like Let Your Dreams Bloom might be the one I'd use. If I wanted to see more images that coordinate with that, then I would say view image sets. And I have these image sets that I can choose from. Maybe spring is my favorite season, live life in full bloom, something like that. You can choose anything, good morning sunshine. So whatever excites you, you can grab that image. Let's do live life in full bloom. So now I've got 2 images selected. And bring on the sun. Let's try that one. So I've selected more than one image. So just select one image or multiple images if you want to see how they're going to work on your space. And you bring them into your canvas and they all pop up. So now you can see I have 3 different wordings in my layers panel. I'm going to move them over here and separate them. So I click off of all three of them, came in highlighted. I click off of them onto a blank space in the canvas, and I pick one image and I just slide it over, another image and I slide it over. And so this one is 4.672 inches wide. And I had already indicated that the widest I wanted it to be was 4 inches. So I just go into my width and change it to 4 inches, and now it's 3 inches tall. So I can see what that's going to look like on my tumbler here. So that looks like a nice size. So that one would work nice. Maybe I like the Bring on the Sun. That's cute. Or Live Life in Full Bloom. Whatever, whatever speaks to you, you can use. Okay, so let's do Live Life in Full Bloom. And I'm okay with those, with my number, with my fringe going over the edge of my 4 inches if it needed to. That's okay. So I'm going to delete these two. I'll delete this one using the X, and maybe this one I want to keep that one hanging around. So in my layers panel, I click on the eye and that hides it. So it's still there. I can still access it, but it hides the image. Now, if you wanted to see how things looked in color, you could change your colors. So when I click on my gray square here, this box up next to operation, I click on that box and I'm going to click on the white because my mug is white, my tumbler's white. And now I've changed that to white, and I'll be using a pink vinyl, nice hot pink vinyl, so I can see how that color looks. If I want to be even more exact, you can go to the advanced icon and select different colors that maybe give you more of the color you're looking for to see. Does that pink look good on white? Yes, it does. I like it. So you could use that one. Okay. Now I'm just going to go over a few other things on the images. If you wanted to change out a word or move this around, you would need to click on it, and this one doesn't change around. This one doesn't either. Okay. Sometimes the images will be grouped together. So each word is its own layer and it's grouped together. So you can just highlight one thing and move it and not the other. And because I think that's an important thing for somebody to understand as a beginner, I'm going to grab another image and bring that another image in and show you guys what I mean. So I have these different monsters here. And if you look in the layers panel, each monster is a different layer. So it's by color. So my blue monster, my green monster, and you can see as I click on them in the layers panel, the box moves around on the actual monsters. If I wanted to, let's say, get rid of one of the monsters or move them around, I would ungroup them and then move them around like that. Okay, so when you pull in an image, if it has multiple layers, you can ungroup them and move them around. And then when you want to bring them all back together, you highlight all the layers and group it. Okay. So grouping allows you when words and shapes and images are grouped together, it allows you to resize them together and change the color together and reposition them together. So if I wanted to add a name to the Live Life in Full Bloom, maybe I want to add Daisy onto that. And I want to put her a little bit smaller, but add her name to the phrase like that. And I would highlight her name and I would select the layer of the image, and then you would select group. And now I can resize those together. and move those around together. So that's a quick overview of layers. Of group. And then I'll get that back to my 4-inch size. And I am ready to send this to my cutter. Now I decided not to do the bring on the sun, but I might come back to that. So I'll hide that one. And I don't need my square. I'll hide that one. When images are hidden, when you click make it, they don't show up. They won't go translate over to your cutting mat. So now here's my image on my cutting mat. It's the right size, and I'm ready to send it to my Explore Air. So I hit continue. And it's going to, there we go. Okay, and I have it set, I have my dial set on cardstock, 80 pound. So I'm gonna reach over and change that to custom. So now I can browse all my materials and select the correct material that I'll be using. If you use one material a lot, you can use the star and star that material. And what that will do is that you can access the material. It makes it so it shows up right on your cut screen and you don't have to go in and search. So I'll be using a premium vinyl. You select what you want. You can add or subtract the amount of pressure by selecting this icon right here if you want to add more pressure or less pressure. Typically, I don't change this around unless I use a material and it didn't cut through. Then you can come back and change the pressure. So if you're using a new material, what I suggest is just doing a quick test run of a little circle and see how your machine cuts. If you need a little bit more pressure or a little bit less pressure, you can adjust that here. You have a little bit more control over that. And it tells me what machines I need, what materials, what tools I need to load into the clamp A, the clamp B, and it tells me I need to load and unload my mat. So I'm ready to send it over, and I'll stop sharing my screen. And Felicia, if we can switch to the overhead, I can start there. There we go. All right. So I've got a couple mugs I've made, tumblers I've made before on my space here. And I have a few different materials set out. I have, this is a permanent glitter material, and this is a permanent glossy material. And I selected a glossy vinyl material to cut, a premium vinyl to cut. So what I need to do is know which transfer tape to use on that vinyl. So if I were to cut it in the shimmer vinyl, I would want to use the strong grip transfer tape, which is purple, and it also says on it, strong grip transfer tape. If you use the strong grip transfer tape on your standard, on your glossy vinyl, it you may have a hard time releasing it onto your blank. And that's because that is designed to hold heavier on your material than just the regular transfer tape. So I'll be using my permanent vinyl here, and my image was 4 inches. So I'm going to go a little bit bigger than 4 inches so that I have a little bit of wiggle room if I make any errors. So I'll cut my vinyl about 5 inches wide. And I'm using a cutting, a paper trimmer, but the back of all the Cricut materials has the grids on it. So it's super easy. You can use scissors to cut it out with, or a paper trimmer if you like. It's up to you, whatever you have on hand or whatever makes it easiest for you. So once I've cut my vinyl out, and I did mine 5 by 6 just to give myself a little bit of extra room, I'll be cutting right on the vinyl. So I want to keep my shiny side up. So I'll put it down on my cutting mat, with the shiny side up. Now with a vinyl, you can use a standard grip mat, which is the green mat, or the blue light grip mat. Either one of those will work fine for you. And then you just, I use the wedge and I just push it down so I don't have any bubbles in it. And I've got my fine point blade here. This is where you could put, if you were doing a scoring line or something, you would use your stylus, or your pen would go in the A clamp. And this is the dial I was mentioning over there. So once you have your vinyl on your mat, you place it in the machine, you line it up along these side lines here and give it just a little bit of pressure along the rollers. Your light is blinking, so I'm going to go ahead and load it in. And then my Cricut light lights up and tells me it's ready to cut it, and it's going to cut that out for me. And while that's cutting, I'll go ahead and cut my my transfer tape into the same size. So I'll do that a 5x7 as well. A little bit bigger than I need. So I'm using the gray standard transfer tape, not the strong grip. And the great thing too about the transfer tape is the grids are on the actual transfer tape, not the paper. So it really helps you line up your image on your blank. So while the machine is plugging away here, if you ever have a material that didn't cut out all the way, or you were worried it didn't cut it out all the way, before you unload the mat, you can hit the Cricut button again, and it will cut it a second time along the same path it cut the first time. So if you ever like look at it and go, oh, that didn't cut well enough, I want to cut it again, you just hit the C button when it's done at the end of it. And we'll be using our weeding tool. This is a weeding tool. It looks like a dentist pick to me, but this is the tool I use to take out the vinyl that I'm not using, that I don't want to have left on my design. It's got a really pointy part on it, so it helps get those little pieces out. So I can see, you probably can't see on the camera, but I can see that my lines cut. I can feel them, that it cut through. So I know I'm safe, it cut through. If I was concerned about it, again, I would just hit the C button and it would cut it again. So I unload my mat from my machine, and then I'm going to tuck my machine away a little bit so we have a little bit of extra room here. Grab this. When you remove your vinyl from your mat, the mats are sticky, and when you remove your vinyl from the mat, you actually want to think of it of removing the mat from the vinyl. So I turn my mat over, I give it a nice curl, I hold my vinyl down, and I peel my mat away from my vinyl like that. And then I like to I usually put my plastic piece right back on my mat so that it keeps any dust off of it, which is important. So as you start to weed, if it's easier for you, if you're having a hard time seeing where your design cut, you can take your vinyl and hold it up to a window, or use a bright pad to pull it off. Makes it a little bit easier. And I'll tell you one other thing that makes it easier is I'm going to just trim around it, so I have a bit of less vinyl I have to work with. Sometimes I put my vinyl down so quickly on my mat, I don't always pay attention to it. So I do tend to be one of those crafters that puts a little extra down, but I know sometimes I don't have extra material to be that generous. And I measure it exactly to the right length where it needs to be. All right. So I get these little pieces and I hold them down with you can weed from the front side or the back side. There we go. And it's coming out. So as you're weeding, you can see I'm kind of holding it away so that my sticky part doesn't fall back on the vinyl that I want to keep. So if you feel like you get it stuck back down, which happens sometimes, and then it's a little bit more challenging, it still pulls off and everything, but I will trim my vinyl as I go. And that helps me so I don't have a whole bunch of clumped up vinyl I'm trying to handle as I'm weeding around these delicate letters and stuff and such. And Joy, if you have questions I can answer while I'm weeding, I'm happy to do that too.
All right. Well, we have lots of beginners in class today.
Awesome.
And I think we have lots of folks who, because of our technical difficulties at the beginning, we were going a little fast at the end. So folks are concerned that they might be missing something as our speed goes through. But if you missed something or you didn't catch up on something, this class is recorded and you can watch it a second time around. So it's good to kind of see everything Kesley's doing and then watch the class again. And we apologize for the technical difficulties in the beginning.
Yes, I do. And I'll tell you, I sort of always think it takes me a couple times of seeing something in different ways that helps me reinforce it into myself so that I remember it. So if I were taking this class, I would do I would watch it through like we did today. And then as you decide to make the project, pull up the class and run the class while you're making the project. That way you can pause it at any point where you need to and do the step and then go back and then stay up with the class that way. I always find that's easier, better. It helps me learn when I can do it that way. And not only is this class recorded, each class, we have a little bit different tidbits of information, I think, based on the people that are in the class. So the Cricut 101 classes, there are other Cricut 101 classes that are available on the Michaels YouTube. And so that's you can always watch another class and you may pick up something that we didn't talk about today because somebody didn't ask the question or, it's a little bit different group of attendees. And also on the Michael's website, there are other instructional videos, which I'm sure Lindsay's been clicking off links in the chat to help you find additional videos on the Michael's website that will go even more in depth on a specific thing than individual things. Or than on group things. All right, we're almost there.
You got it, Kesley. So I'm just trying to look through at what some of the other classes are, but definitely if you're interested in the 201 classes, I'm seeing a lot of questions about the 201 classes. And in that particular class, Kesley goes a lot deeper into many of the features in Design Space. So if you felt like you are ready to learn more, definitely sign up for the 201 class. The 201 class, you also get that video as well. So you can come back, watch as many 101 classes as you want, and you'll have the 201 class too, which we're finding a lot of people are very happy with doing that. And that's helping a lot to reinforce all these things Kesley's teaching.
Right. And I think that as you're getting started, I don't know about you guys, when I start a new craft, I always have these great ideas of what I want to make or what I think I can do with whatever it is. And it's good to start with the basics because then you'll just launch. I think once you kind of get the hang of Design Space, you will be creating everything you want to create in no time. I'm almost there, guys. If you're weeding along with me, you should be down to your last few. I always like to weed at night. Like if I'm doing a big project, I'll weed after dinner when we're just sitting in front of the television or something. And I can just kind of sit there quietly and pull up my vinyl and just have some quiet moments. Or first thing in the morning when you're a little bit more alert. But if you do put it up against a window, it does, I do find like for something that has a lot of words or something, it does make it go easier. And then, so once you have your outside all weeded off, then you just come back and weed out the insides. And what I do is I take my weeding tool, I push it in, the tip of it in, and then I just pop out the little negative space I want to pull out, just like that. And you can even do a reverse weed, which is where you put your transfer tape on your project and then weed it off that way. And so you flip it over and you weed it from the back, which is interesting. And you can also weed with your fingernails too. Like, so you can roll your vinyl and get your finger underneath that cut piece and peel it off that way. I don't know if you can see that. But that's another way to weed. So there's all different kinds of ways to weed. And as you do more weeding, you'll kind of come up with what your best and easiest way to weed is. But I really think like as you're beginning, make sure you're sharing your projects and your progress, because you may do your first couple of projects and kind of not be that excited about them because you know the flaws, but other people don't know. And I think the Instagram community is so generous and friendly with ideas and feedback. We use the Cricut with Michael's hashtag also to follow along. So if you've created something and you want to share it with me or with Joy, if you use the Cricut with Michael's hashtag, we'll see that, what you've created. Right.
All right. We have quite a few questions here. As you're completing your weeding there, I think some folks missed up in the right corner of your canvas, there will be a make it button, and you want to click that button, and then that will take you through the cutting steps to cut your design. And our 201 class is one level above this one, and it'll take a deeper dive into all of the features in Design Space. So 101 gives you some touch points, but 201 goes even deeper.
And the 201 class, I think it's $10 for the class. It's a smaller class, so we only allow 50 students in the class. And it really does give time for more individual questions as we're going along. Hopefully you've gotten all your questions answered today. So now I'm ready to I've got my design is weeded. I'm using a self-healing mat, and I do that so that I can line my design up along the lines and then put my transfer tape on, and it keeps everything lined up. So what I'm going to do is I'll put my transfer tape down on one of the lines here. So I line up my transfer tape line with the line on the self-healing mat, and I just pull it back to the edge so it's on that line, and then I'll put my vinyl up right up against the edge, so my straight edge of my vinyl is along the straight line of the transfer tape, and then I just pull that down. I call this the hinge method because it's like you're creating a door and hinging it. And then I will use my wedge and I will push down on my transfer tape onto the vinyl. And when I'm ready, I just pull up give myself a little corner here, and you'll remove your transfer tape, your vinyl backing piece from your transfer tape. So just like we turned over our mat to remove the mat from the vinyl, you want to turn it over. I like to do it this way. Turn your backing over and use your wedge and pull that tape back off of the wedge like this. And now you have your design is ready to go onto your mug. So when I do my mug, I like to use face cloth, and I just will roll them up on the side so that I can settle my mug onto my face cloth. I usually wipe it ahead of time, so like I would wipe it with either alcohol or just Windex, or a wipe will wipe it down for you, whatever you have handy. The tumbler that I'm using is not dishwasher safe, but I do recommend when you're using vinyl, permanent vinyl, you still tell the person that you suggest hand washing it. I would hand wash this. Okay, so then you just hold up both sides of your transfer tape like a taco. And I have a straight line on the bottom of my transfer tape here where my thumb is that I can line on the bottom of the mug, either at the bottom of the mug or because this has the seam right here, I can line it up right there. And I just set the middle down first with my taco. And then you lay down one side, holding up the other, and you lay it down smooth. And then you lay down the other side. Now, if you're doing something that is, if your shape is more tapered, you may want to come in and trim your transfer tape along where it's tapered so that you can have a little bit more control over how that goes down, and you don't have any bubbles in your vinyl caused by your transfer tape buckling up or folding on you. This type of mug is great. I love this as a beginner because it's pretty consistent width from the top to the bottom. But you just push it down with your finger, work it in. If you feel any bubbles, you can peel up the transfer tape and adjust your vinyl as you're going. I don't really feel any bubbles on mine. I think I'm pretty good here. And then I will remove my transfer tape from my mug and leave my vinyl down. Now again, I've used just the standard grip transfer tape on the vinyl, so it should come off pretty smoothly. If it doesn't for you, that's when again you would grab your wedge and use the wedge to push down your vinyl and your fingertips to pull back the transfer tape. So your wedge, you're just kind of pushing down on the wedge with these fingers here and pulling back with your vinyl like that. And then also if you worry about it's not coming off, I kind of rock it back and forth, and that also will help sort of pick it up and rock it like this as you go across. And then once you have it in there off, once you have your transfer tape off, so you see how that's pulling up there, right there. So I would just go back with my wedge, push it down, make sure it's down there, and then hold my transfer tape back and push down as I go. So you may find some spots that do that. And I don't know if you can see right there at the bottom of my F, I have a little bit of a bubble there. So I would just come back in with my weeding tool and tuck under that, pick it up, and then come back and work it down like that. And there you go. There's your mug. You can go back and add flowers if you wanted to on the edges or anything like that. So there we are.
So nice, Kesley.
I love it. I love that. I think that's my favorite one.
I like it too. I want to say an especially huge thank you to Kesley for working through her technical difficulties and keeping her composure during class. I think she did an amazing job. And I'd also like to say a huge thank you to everybody who hung in here a little bit longer with us so that you could learn everything. We know our folks who purchase Cricut machines are super, super excited about their machines, and we want to teach you everything that we possibly can. If you feel like this class was a little too fast, remember it's available on michaels.com. You can go to michaels.com/classes and you'll find it right there. You'll also see all the other 101 classes Kesley has taught. So feel free to watch as many as possible because you'll see a couple of different things that she does in the classes. And then also remember, we have the 201 class. This is a paid class. It's $10, and we try to keep the attendance a little bit smaller so that we can answer everyone's questions. We tried to get to as many as possible today, and I appreciate those of you who helped answer each other's questions. We were sweating on the question sides over here. So, Kesley,
Before we go, can everybody hold up, if they crafted along with me? Can you hold up your project? I'd love to see what everybody did. Arthur, you didn't get very far. I love it. Oh, this is awesome.
well done, Elizabeth. I like it.
Yeah, I can't wait. And please do, when you finish your project, feel free to Cricut with Michaels, and I'd love to see what you guys do. Thank you, Joanne. That's all I had. Thank you so much, everybody, for hanging in with us.
Thanks, everybody. Hope you have a great Monday.